So if you've been following this series, you'll know that we've come a long way. So we started off, first of all, with having a glimpse of something more, having an experience of higher values and deeper meanings. And then after that, we offered anything we could towards that vision. And as it were, saluted it, recognized it, made ourselves lower so that we could look up to it. Then we actually tried to put some of those values into practice, tried to actually practice the teachings of the Buddha, tried to move towards these higher values in our life. Then we realized that it was much more difficult than we thought, and we failed and continued to fail. And then we also realized that other people can do it, and it is possible, and even we can do it as well. So we rejoiced in those good acts, as it were, that moved us and others towards those ideals. So we've given it a go, but then what we need is some really explicit teaching. So the next phase in the journey of being a Buddhist, the next phase in this path of a Buddhist ritual, is to ask for a teaching. So if you were with a teacher, you'd ask them to teach you something. They know more than you, they embody more than you, they know how to practice the spiritual life, they know how to put these teachings into practice, and they know you. So if you were with a teacher, they would give you a teaching specific to you, and you try and practice that. So what we've got are teachings from the Buddha. And in the puja, what we do is after all of these stages, we have a section where we ask for a teaching. So what we're doing there is saying, okay, I'm receptive now, I've given it a go, I roughly know what it's like to try and practice. I roughly know what it's like to try and develop my mind and grow as an individual, but I need guidance, I need someone to teach me. Actually, if you're going to try and do anything in life, you need a teacher. And if you're going to practice the Dharma and work with your mind, well, you need a teacher in the same way. So what we do here is ask for a teaching. So we ask for a teaching, and then what normally happens in the ritual is we just listen to a teaching from the Buddha, and we just listen to that and allow that to go in. So a teaching of the Buddha can come in different forms, but this is one. This is a book called the Dhammapada, and it's a book of the very earliest teachings of the Buddha. So I'll read out the first verse in this collection, and that's a teaching. Experiences are preceded by mind, led by mind, and produced by mind. If one speaks or acts with an impure mind, suffering follows, even as the cartwheel follows the hoof of the ox drawing the cart. So that's a teaching of the Buddha. So experiences are preceded by mind. So what we do, when we hear a teaching of the Buddha, what we can try and do is reflect on that. And what I mean by reflect on that is to try and think about it for yourself. So it's really, really easy to read these short teachings, and they sound great, and then put them down and go off and do something else. But what we're trying to do is actually understand what these mean for us now. So what does it mean to you when you hear someone say experiences are preceded by mind, led by mind, and produced by mind? What does that mean to you? And you might also want to think about suffering. If you're suffering, well, according to this, it's because you've been acting with an impure mind. What does that mean to you? The second verse goes like this, a similar start, and then it says, if one speaks or acts with a pure mind, happiness follows, like a shadow that never departs. So there you go. If you're interested in happiness, how does that come about? What we need to do is try and reflect, think about these teachings and find out what they actually mean to us. what you want to do is try and make them personal to you so that you understand them a bit more. And ideally, the teachings start to inform how you act and what you do. So you start to, for example, using these teachings, you can start to notice just the happiness and suffering of your daily life, and that will start to open up threads. And if you've got a reflective mind, you might start to see some of the causes and conditions upon which happiness and suffering come about, and you'll see that the primary condition is your mind. So what we want to do is find teachings of the Buddha and take them seriously and reflect on them and make them our own.